All right, first off, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. That's all honor and glory to the Most High God through His Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, and of course the Holy Spirit, man. Right, I want to give a sincere and hearty shalom to the sincere Akwaf and Akim out there, right? The Akim that's out there doing everything they can, pushing the word of the Most High, doing all they can to magnify the name of the Lord and the truth in these last days, right? And of course, the sincere Akwaf that's doing all that they can, reverencing their husband, being submissive, raising up the righteous children, right? Being like a righteous foremothers, Judith, Sarah, Esther, so on and so forth, man. And of course, I want to give a hearty shalom to the sincere children that's doing all that they can, reverencing their parents, do what they can to magnify the name of the Lord in these last days. And of course, I want to give double honors to the elect elders that's out there pushing the word. I mean, the elect elders has been out there sincerely pushing the word in sincerity and faith for many years. Salakia, right? It's a little early. But this is W5 early mornings. We back at it. Salakia, brother, been, I be honest, been a little slothful lately, man. I ain't been on my videos, man. So we back at it. This one's entitled Three Heavens, Hell, Fallen Angels, Salvation, and more, man. Right? Three heavens, hell, fallen angels, salvation, and more. Right? And why is that? Right? Why is that the title? Right. One, because a lot of people don't understand or know that we have three heavens. There's a lot of misconceptions of the things that we think we know about the scriptures, especially coming into this thing from Christianity. And you got some brothers and sisters that's in the truth that have these same misconceptions, man. Right. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, we can get some better understanding to the brothers, to the sisters, and to the children that may have some misunderstanding about these things, man. Right. So let's kick it off with the first precept. Right. Book Corinthians. Right, it's the book Corinthians, chapter 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Get this real quick to kick it off. It's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10, right, in verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought into obedience. Right? So what? We pulling down the strongholds through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Right? That's the whole purpose of making these type of videos, because a lot of these things are strongholds on our people's mind, and through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, we're going to pull the strongholds down. Right? So let's kick it off. First topic matter is three heavens. A lot of people don't understand that we literally have three heavens. And the heaven that we talk about that we want to go to, right, is not even actually one of these three heavens. That heaven is actually just a term for rulership or high estate, right? The three heavens has nothing to do with the actual heaven that we're praying and hoping to get into, right? The New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem is not an actual heaven. It's a rulership that you would call heaven, right? Nonetheless, let's kick it off. So the first heaven that you have is the firmament, right? Which is where you have the moon, the stars, right? And the sun. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 8. And Yahweh called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And Yahweh called the firmament heaven, right? So the firmament is literally heaven in this thing, man. That's the first heaven, right? I'm going to jump to 14 to prove what's in the firmament. And Yahweh said, let there be light in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for light in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And Yahweh made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, right? And the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Yahweh set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. So that's plain. That first heaven is the firmament. And that's plain about what's inside the firmament. So don't go believe in the so-called white man science, talking about the moon is way out there somewhere. The sun is way out there somewhere in space. That's going off, man. It's going off. The Lord literally told you that all that is inside the firmament, and that firmament is called heaven. And the so-called white man, he can't penetrate the firmament, man. He can't penetrate it because the firmament literally is like a glass shield. It's not actual glass, but it's clear. It's like a glass shield, and the so-called white man can't penetrate it. Right? That's why he sends his damn rockets via NASA, continue trying to shoot them up in the air, seeing if he can penetrate the firmament, but he can't. Right? Let's prove that it's a shield in the firmament. Go to the book of Psalms. It's the book of Psalms. Right, chapter 148. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 148. Is that what I want? No, Salaki, I want Psalms. I want Job. Salaki, the book of Job, chapter 37 is what I want. It's the book of Job, chapter 37, right? And verse 18, it says what? How has thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass, right? The sky is as a molten looking glass. Why is that? Because the firmament is like a glass shield, right? Of course, it's way stronger than glass, but it's a clear shield that's over the earth, man, right? That protects us and stops us, right, from trying to go up into the third heaven, right? It protects us from the second heaven because literally above the firmament, the second heaven is waters. Right? The second heaven is waters, man. Right? It's the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 6. And Yahweh said, well, really I want to say Elohim. And Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Right? So the firmament divides the waters from the waters. How is that possible? That will only mean that there's waters above the firmament and waters below the firmament. And we know the waters below the firmament is the sea and also what's under the earth, right? We know that. So the only way that they can be divided is if there's waters above the firmament as well, right? Now we can go to Psalms, right? It's the book of Psalms, chapter 148. In verse 4, praise him, ye heavens of heavens, ye waters that be above the heavens. Praise ye heavens of heavens, second heaven, right? And ye waters above the heavens, right? So we understood that the first heaven is what? Is the firmament. And the second heaven will be what? The waters that are above the firmament, right? Let's go to right. Let's go to the book. Let's go to the third heaven, man. Real quick. The book of Corinthians. It's the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 12, right? And verse 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. No, it's not what I want. This is 1 Corinthians. Salakia. 2 Corinthians, chapter 12, and verse 1. It is not expedient for me to doubt, lest to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Hamashiach above 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of body I cannot tell. Yahweh knoweth, such and one caught up in the third heaven. Right? So there's three heavens. And that third heaven is that spiritual realm where the Most High's throne is, where his temple is, man, right? That's where you find the Sandrine. That's where you find the Most High. That's where you find the angels praising him, singing Holy of Holies, right? Let's get a precept. Right? It's the book of Revelation, right? Chapter 4 and verse 1. After this, I look and behold, a door was opened in heaven. So this is the third heaven, right? And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me. And he said, come up hither, and I will show thee the things which be hereafter. Right? So this is the third heaven, right? I'm going to jump to verse 3. I'll just read through. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne in sight like unto an emerald. And round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting clothed in a white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High, the angels. Shalom, shalom. Right? So the 3 heavens, right? We just went through it. First, you had a firmament. Second, you have the waters above the firmament. And third, you have the spiritual realm, which is where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is, man. Right? And we just read, right, where John went into the third heaven via vision, right? And he seen Yahweh sitting on the throne. He's seen the 24 elders, right? And if we read on, he also seen the ministering angels, so on and so forth, man. Right? So that's the third heaven. And this is not the place that we're that Lord willing, if we're of that number, where we'll be residing for all eternity, right? That other heaven only represents our rulership, but we'll get into that, right? So the next topic was what? Hell. Because we have a lot of people that have a misunderstanding of hell. A lot of our people come into this thing literally believing that you got hell underground, literally believing that kind of Satan is kind of under the damn earth right now, kind of stirring up some coal, getting it hot for the next soul that gets sent down there. Then you'll kind of damn be touching them with a pitchfork, kind of jabbing at them with a damn pitchfork when they come down there, man. The Lord's not talking about that, man. The Lord's not dealing with that, right? Let's get a precept. Right? Let's go to the book of Luke, because this is where they get it from. But let's just read Luke in context, see if it makes sense. Right? It's the book of Luke. Started off with this, the book of Luke, chapter 16, right? In verse 19. There was a certain rich man, which was clothed in purple and fine linen, fared and superstitiously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at the gate full of sores, right? Now understand, this rich man represents the so-called white man. This is a parable. That's the first thing that we got to understand. This is a parable. A lot of people try to go to this and try to use this and try to say, see, you know, there's an eternal hell. First, if you read it, you'll find out that what it's saying, there's no way it could be an eternal, there's no way it could be referring to actual eternal hell, right? Then secondly, it's a damn parable, right? So what? That rich man is a so-called white man, and that beggar is who? It's us, the children of Israel, with those swords, man, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, right? And verse 5. And it reads, matter of fact, just so we can get the context of who he's talking about, right? Let's start at verse 4. Our sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupt. They are forsaken them. They have forsaken the Most High. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backwards. Why should ye be stricken anymore? Ye revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart is faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Right? So what? Israel is that beggar that had these sores, right? And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, back to Luke chapter 16 verse 20. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid up at the gate full of sores. We just read Israel has those putrefying sores, right? And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. So, you know, the dogs are the other nations, man. And it came to pass that the beggar died, and he was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. Is a man literally carried into Abraham's bosom? No. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torment, seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. So are you telling me that Abraham was in hell underground? If this parable is saying what you think it's saying, people that believe in that, right? You telling me that Lazarus literally kind of looked up and kind of seen Abraham, a couple miles away, a couple 100 feet away, a couple 1,000 feet away in damn hell, man? No, man. This is not talking about a physical hell, right? This so-called white man is in a lower state, and he's seeing Israel being lifted up, man. Right? And now it's in his mind. He sees it now. Man, it's tormenting him to be in that lower state and to see Israel above him, man. Right? It's not this parable is not dealing with physical hell, right? It says what? And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his fingers in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame, right? This flame just represents a form of affliction, man, right? Just like the sun, heat, it represents a form of affliction, right? That's why it says, what's that precept? Shalakia. Let me see. Get that. It's the book. Sirach. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 14, right? And I'm gonna start at 20. Blessed is the man that doeth meditate in good things, in wisdom, and reasoneth of holy things by his understanding. He that considereth her ways in his heart shall also have understanding in her secrets. Go after her as one that traceth, and lie in wait in her ways. He that prieth in her windows shall also hearken at her doors. He that lodge near her house shall also fasten in the pen of her walls. He shall pitch his tent nigh unto her, and shall lodge in the lodging where her good things are. He shall set his children under her shelter, and shall lodge under her branches. By her shall he be covered from heat, and in her glory shall dwell. By her he shall be covered in heat. What is that heat? That heat is representing affliction. By wisdom, you'll be covered in affliction, right? So that him saying that he has that flame is burning with that flame is dealing with him being in that affliction, being in that captivity that he's got to go in to serve, man. When we rule the earth, right? Let's get another precept. It's, Isaiah, classic precept, right? It's the book of Isaiah, I believe on 33. Right, the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and verse 6, and wisdom and knowledge, the same wisdom and knowledge that we were reading in this Iraq, right, shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure, right? So that wisdom and knowledge that we read about in the book of Sirach, that said what was the covering from the heat. Now in Isaiah is telling you is going to be the stability of your times, right, and the strength in your salvation, right? So it's the same way. It's going to cover you through affliction, strengthen your salvation. And the stability of your times is pushing you through that affliction, right? So it's the same way that that heat represents your affliction, right? The sun can represent your affliction, right? So right here with him saying, "For I am tormented in this flame," is talking about his affliction, man, his captivity, his servitude that he must serve, man, right? All right, so let's go to the book. Right, continue proving that hell ain't dealing with physically underground. I just want to touch on that because that's a point that a lot of so-called Christians and people with understanding of hell go to say, see, it's dealing with hell. No, it's not dealing with that, man. It's not dealing with that. Let's go to the book of Jonah. Right. Go to the book of Jonah. It's the book of Jonah. Right, chapter 2. In verse 1, then Jonah prayed unto Yahweh his power out of the fish's belly, and he said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto Yahweh, and he heard me out of the belly of hell, cried I, and thou heardest my voice. Right? He literally said out of my affliction. and that was the belly of hell. But he was in the whale or the fish, Salakia, right? So that affliction is representing hell. Once again, like that flame. Affliction is hell. Affliction is heat. Affliction is a flame. Affliction can be the sun, right? That affliction, it's not a physical hell under the ground, but it's dealing with affliction, servitude, being at a lower state. That's why you say, man, I'm going through hell right now. You ain't physically walking through the damn place where you see the damn devil every day. No, you're going through hell because you're going through hell. It's afflicting you, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 5. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 5, and verse 13. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity, which the so-called white man is going to go into, helping you understand the parable, right? Because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore, hell have enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoices shall descend into it. Right? Literally, man. Right? Our people have gone into hell. And what are we in? We're in captivity. We're not in a physical hell, man. We're not physically under the damn ground, but we've gone into captivity. Right? And it's being called hell. That's the hell that we're going through. Right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, I believe I want. So like the book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse 14. Right? Yeah, 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Right? How the hell was hell under the ground cast into the lake of fire? If it's physical. It's not dealing with that, man. It's not dealing with that. It's not dealing with damn Hades, that Greek mythology, man. Our people got to let go of that Greek mythology that the so-called white man has tried to write into our book, man. The so-called white man can't understand these scriptures. It's not for him. He can't break it down. He don't know what's going on, right? I had another con, right? Let's get this. Where do we go when we die? Does it matter if we're good or bad? Where do we go when we die? Do the bad people go to a different place than the good people? Is that what's going on? Right? Let's go to the book of Job. Right? It's the book of Job, chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse 11. Why died I not from the womb? So Job is saying, why didn't I die from the womb? Right? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? So he's saying, hey, from when I first was born, right? But why did the knees prevent me, or why the breast that I should suck? For now should I have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept, then I have been at rest. With kings and counselors of the earth, which build desolate places of themselves. So he's talking about if I would have died, this is where I would have been, right? Or with princes that had gold, or with princes that had gold who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden untimely birth, I had not been, as an infant which never saw light. So they don't. Hey, the princes are here. Infants that had stillborn are here, right? Princes are here. Everybody's in the same place, right? It says what? There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. Right? The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. So everybody is literally in this place. Everybody is literally going to the same place. It doesn't matter if they're great, they're small. It doesn't matter if they're a prince. It doesn't matter if they're an infant. It doesn't matter if they're bad, they're good. Everybody literally is going to the same place, man. Right? And where's that place? Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, right? And verse 20. So like it. Oh, it's 2. So like it. I know I'm tripping. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 20. All go unto one place. All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. So it says all go into one place, right? Where's that one place? To the spirit realm, to the Most High, right? Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of beast that goeth downward to the earth. So the spirit of man goeth upward. When you die, you go upward. You don't kind of go down, kind of lay down, go to sleep. No, you go upward, man, right? Why? Because you got to be judged, right? Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra. It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, right? In verse number, no, that's not what I wanted. Is it 13 and 41? So like here, bear with me. 6, I should have used 6 earlier for dealing with the heaven. Salakia. All right, 2nd Ezra. I'm in the right chapter. Chapter 14 and verse 35. For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again, and then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. Right? Why? Because you're gonna go into the third heaven, right, to the Most High, and be judged, right? And then you'll come back down on earth and live out that judgment, right? But that's a deeper understanding, right? If you have ears to hear, right? It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Yahweh who gave it. And that's plain, man. That is plain, right? That is literally plain, man. It says what? Read it again. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Yahweh that gave it. So when you die, literally, your body returns unto the damn dust, right, where it came from, and the spirit returns unto the Father, right? So you don't, it didn't say unless you're bad, unless you're wicked. If you're wicked, you kind of go under the earth, kind of go see Satan, because Satan ain't up under there anyway, man. Satan ain't up under the damn earth anyway, man. So back to Job, man. Where's Satan at? Is Satan kind of chilling up under the earth? Is he kind of chilling in damn so-called hell? Is that where he's at? It's madness. Right? And this goes along with this is a segue into the next topic about Satan being a damn fallen angel, right? This precept right here gonna segue right into the next topic. But Satan ain't a fallen angel. He didn't disobey the Most High God. He only does what the Most High God tells him to do. Right? This is the book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of Yahweh came to present themselves before the Most High, and Satan came also among them. And Yahweh said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Most High and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Right? He didn't say, hey, man, I was, down there in hell. Hey, what is he doing up there if he was kicked out of heaven? Kind of can just, he's kicked out, but he kind of come up there whenever he wants to. That's off. That's off. He ain't been kicked out, man. He does the Lord's bidding. He does the evil works that the Lord wants to be done, man. Right? He ain't kicked out. He ain't fall. None of that. He ain't kind of get jealous of the Most High. None of that, man. None of that. He's the evil angel, the adversary that the Lord set up because he has to have one, because the Lord is all about balance, man. Can't all be good. So he had to create something evil. Right? Let's get that real quick about balance. So the book of Proverbs. Right? The book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse 1. A false balance is an abomination to the Most High, but a just weight is his delight, right? So the Most High got to have that just weight. So it couldn't all be righteous. It couldn't all be good. He had to create evil. And the person that he used to perpetuate the evil on the earth and to do the evil bidding on the earth and to run the other evil angels was Satan. But Satan wasn't cast down from heaven. And Satan didn't rebel against the Most High. He wasn't kind of he was a music angel. One day he kind of looked up and was like, I'm tired of listening to him and playing this damn music all day long. I want the power. That's off, man. Where does it say that in the Bible? Where does it say in the Bible that Satan kind of got upset at the Most High and said, I want to do what I want to do now. I'm done listening to him. That's madness. That's complete madness, man. It's not in there. Right? Let's read on, because it's going to let you know that Satan does what the Lord tells him to do. He doesn't do anything without the Lord's permission, right? From walking up and down in it, and Yahweh said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? And there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth Yahweh and escheweth evil. Then Satan answered the Most High and said, doeth Job fear Yahweh for naught? Has not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And Satan and Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahweh. So now he told him what he can do and what he can't do. If he doesn't do what the Lord says, if he rebels against the Lord, if he does what he wants to do, why is the Lord here telling Satan, hey, you all that he has, you can do what you want, but don't touch him? That's literally what just happened. That's literally what just happened. Right? So obviously he's still under the thumb of the Most High, taking orders from the Most High. Because if we read on, you'll see that, hey, Satan took everything away from Job, but he didn't put a finger on Job. Job still had his complete health. Then what? Let's go to chapter 2. Right? It's the book of Job, chapter 2, right, in verse 1. Again, there was a day when the sons of Yahweh came to present themselves before the Most High, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Most High. And then he's presenting himself. He ain't just kind of, he has to present himself and kind of get asked about things, man. Hey, what's been going on? Even though Yahweh already know what's been going on. He got to check in. How the hell is he rebelling against somebody? He got to kind of come and check in and say what he's been doing and what's been going on. Right? And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down in it. And Yahweh said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man that feareth Yahweh and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Most High and said, skin for skin, yeah, all that man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. Once again, now he's saying, okay, well, you can touch him, but you can't kill him. You can make him sick. You can give him boils, right? So on and so forth, but you can't kill him. Once again, he's getting a straight commandment from the Most High. So how in the hell is he rebelling against the Most High? He's not. He's literally doing the evil works of the Most High, right? To appease the Most High's wrath, and ultimately to prove Job, man, to set him through the fire, right? Because what does it say? Right? It's the book of Sirach, right? And 2 and verse 5. For gold is tried in the furnace, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Right? Believe in him, and he will help thee order thy way aright, and trust in him. The point of that was what? Job had to be proved, right? He had to be put through that furnace of adversity, right? Proved through that fire, right? And after he was proved through that fire, what? The Lord doubled his substance, gave him back everything that he had and more, right? But where does this idea come from? Where does the whole idea of there being of Satan rebelling and there being a fallen angel come from? Let's address that. Right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Right? It says, Shalom, King. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? People see the word Lucifer and they automatically believe that the word Lucifer means Satan. Right? They literally believe as soon as they see it, oh, that's talking about Satan. Where in the Bible does it say Lucifer means Satan? Where in the Bible does it say Lucifer and Satan are the same people, man? It's not in there. That's asserted. Lucifer just means light bearer, bearer of light. And we understand that light represents wisdom and knowledge. The person that withholds the wisdom and knowledge of the nations, right? The influence of the nations, man, right? Oh, it's 1 p.m. in London. Con. It's 7 a.m. down here in Texas, brother. Right? Let me share my screen, man. Right? Lucifer does not mean Satan, man. Right? This is the word Lucifer in the Hebrew. Right? I'm going to play the word.
Strong's H, 1966. Haleo.
Right, Haleo. Right? It says what? Lucifer equals light bearer. Shining one, same thing. Morning star, same thing. Of the king of Babylon and Satan, right? Describing the king of Babylon. Literally describing the king of Babylon, man. And the Babylon is describing here in Isaiah is dealing with Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, right? It's dealing with the so-called white man. It's not dealing with Nebuchadnezzar. It's dealing with the so-called white man, Babylon the Great, right? That's who it's dealing with. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Right? It's going into that. It's going damn near dealing with that parable of Lazarus, the rich man and Lazarus, man. Right? How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Right? Right now, the so-called white man, he the bearer of light. Right? He's the one you go to for understanding. Right? He's the one that has his science and his technology and so on and so forth. Right? His whole influence is what influences the world. Whatever he says is what goes. Right? But he's gonna be cut down from heaven in these last days. Let's get that real quick, right? Hey, because so-called white man is referred to as Satan as well. Why? Because he's one of his chief vessels, man. So-called white man is one of Satan's chief vessels, right? It's the book of Revelation, real quick, chapter 12 and verse 9. And it says what? And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, right? That great dragon is a so-called white man called the devil, right? Devil meaning the deceiver, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Who deceived the whole world? Who told the whole world that Yahweh Shai, who they call Jesus Christ, is a so-called white man? Who told the whole world that the so-called Jewish man, who you see now, Amalek, is the damn so-called chosen people of the Most High God? Who deceives the whole world with his damn media? Right? With his television, with his influence. Everything he puts before your face is a form of deception. Who deceives the whole world by making people believe in his Christianity, his democracy, right? And now even his homosexuality, man. The so-called white man, right? These nations on the eastern side of the hemisphere, they weren't partaking in a lot of the fire that they partake in now. They weren't eating McDonald's, man. Right? But now they are. Because the so-called white man has deceived them to believe, and that's the way of life. Same thing with homosexuality and women acting out of order. Right? You kind of see the other day we was at camp and I seen a damn Moabite dyke, man, dressed like a man. Hey, you wouldn't have seen that in damn Asia back in the day, man. A damn Moabite dressed like a damn man with a damn girlfriend, man. Going off, man. Because what? The so-called white man deceiveth the whole world, man. Right? So reading on. It says what? And Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, he is cast out into earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Right? So he's going to be cast out to earth. And heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and the strength of the kingdom of our power and power of Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before Yahweh day and night. Right? And we understand the accuser of the brethren is a so-called white man. Right? He accused his mother's son. Right? All right. So back to Revelation 14 and 12. Right? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Right? How art thou cut down to the ground? Right? Well, how are you brought low? How have you been cast out of your rulership? Right? You did weaken the nations. Once upon a time, the so-called white man weakened the nations, man. Everybody was scared to deal with them. Nobody wanted any of them, especially chiefly the so-called white man here in America. And you see it now, right? That the nations ain't scared of an American white man like they used to be. Now they ready to go to war with them. Shalakia. And it says what? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Right? So I hear that, and that's where they get the understanding. Yeah, see, Satan, he wanted to be like the Most High. He was jealous. No, it's not dealing with that, man. It's literally dealing with the so-called white man and his understanding. Right? The so-called white man continues to believe that he is above the Most High, man. Right? The wicked, man. The wicked of the earth. Get a precept. All right. What I want. Right, it's the book of Daniel to the 7th and verse 12. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and shall think to change times and laws, and shall be given into, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and dividing a time. Right? Whole purpose of reading that is what? He shall speak great words against the Most High. Right? Because why? He believes that he will be the Most High. He believes that, he believes he's just as great as the Most High. He has that pride, right? Let's go to the book of Obadiah. Right? It's the book of Obadiah. You know, it's only one chapter, right? And verse 3, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee. Thou dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right? He's the one that says, who shall bring me down to the ground? He's the one that has that high habitation. He's the one that's living exalted and in heaven, man. Right? He's the one that believes he's above the Most High God. And he says, who shall bring me down to the ground? Hey, but the Most High gonna bring you down to the ground, man. Right? And he's being brought down in this prophecy. It's not talking about Satan. It's talking about the so-called white man. Right? Chiefly the so-called white man here in America. Right? And it says what? Verse 15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit, right? He's literally going to be cast into affliction. He's literally going to be cast down to poverty, to a lower state, to captivity. If you read up in Isaiah 14, which is all in the same matter of context, if you read it up in Isaiah 14, it tells you that we're going to rule over our oppressors. And who are our oppressors? The so-called white men, right? They're going to go into captivity, right? Which is part of that salvation, right? Says what? They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? Is this the man? So this whole prophecy is dealing with a nation of people, a man. It's not dealing with no damn spiritual demon, man. It's not dealing with a spiritual demon. So it's not dealing with actual Satan, right? Our people got to come out of that understanding. That's an all-fast understanding, man. It's not dealing with that at all, right? It's literally dealing with the so-called white man being defeated, cast down from his rulership, man, brought low and put into captivity, which ultimately is our salvation, right? Which is ultimately is our salvation. All right, let's touch on something real well. Yeah, let's kind of segue right into it. I want to touch on more of the fallen angels, but it kind of segues right into the salvation, man. Right? So let's just jump into it, man. Right? A lot of people run around saying, "What? I'm saved. I am saved. I am already saved." That's off, man. Right? Let's look to the book of Matthew. Right? The so-called white man being cast down and brought low and brought out of rulership and us being exalted into rulership. That is our salvation, man. That is being saved, man. Right? It's the book of Matthew chapter 24, right, in verse 13. And it reads, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." Right? I read that because ain't nobody saved yet. Right? You got to literally endure unto the end in order to be saved. So nobody's saved yet. Right? We have not achieved that salvation yet. We got to continue to endure in this thing in righteousness of the Most High in order to attain that salvation. Right? That's why a lot of people, they don't get jammed up into enduring to the end. They're going to give into seductive spirits. Right? They're going to give into the affliction. Right? They're going to give into damn ways and cares of the world, as it says in the book of Mark. Right? When they get persecuted, they're going to be offended by the word, right? And put it down, and they ain't going to make it, man, right? That's the whole reason why they got to continue to endure in these last days, right? Where's I going? Salakia. Let's go to the book of Judges. Book of Judges. Book of Judges, chapter 6. In verse 13. And Gideon said unto him, "O my Yahweh, if the Most High be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, Did not Yahweh bring us up from Egypt? But now Yahweh hath forsaken us and delivered us into the hand of the Midianites. And Yahweh looked upon him and said, Go in thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have I not sent thee?" Right? I read that to get the understanding of our salvation. Being saved has always been us being saved out of the hand of our oppressors. It's never been what the so-called white man has taught you. Now you're free from sin. You've been saved. In retrospect, yeah, we have, right? But that's not what it's dealing with, right? It's dealing with us actually being saved out of his hand. The same way that Gideon was used to save Israel out of the hand of the Midianites, right? The Lord has always raised us up saviors, man. Always. There's never been a time, right? Every time we kind of go into captivity, right? He sends a savior to get us out of it. Salakia. Right. Let me see. Started the live late, man. Brother got to kind of. Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on. Let's go to the classic precept. All right. Our salvation, is predicated on us being saved out of the hand of our enemies, man. It's not predicated on anything else, man. The Lord redeeming us out of this captivity. Right. As a matter of fact, let's go to the book of Joel. Right. Let's go to Joel. Mighty book of Joel. It's the book of Joel, chapter 2, right? In verse 18. Then will Yahweh be jealous for his land and pity his people. Yet the Most High will answer and say unto his people, Behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. Right? That's our redemption. Right? But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he had done great things. Right? Who is that northern army, man? Right? What's that northern army? Right? Let's go to the book of Zechariah. It's the book of Zechariah. What I want? I think I want 5. It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 5. The 501. So like you. Book of Zechariah, chapter 2 and verse 5. For I say, if Yahweh will be unto her, is that what I want? 6. Ho, ho, come forth, flee from the land of the north, saith the Most High. For I have spread you abroad as the 4 winds of the heaven, saith Yahweh. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. So the land of the north is the daughter of Babylon. The daughter of Babylon is America. So that northern army will be who? Will be America, man. Right? So it says what? Back to Joel. Joel chapter 2 and verse 21. Fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice, for Yahweh will do great things. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring, for the earth beareth her fruit, and the fig tree and the vine doeth yield her strength. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Most High, your power, for he had given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. And the floor shall be full of wheat, and the fats that shall overflow with wine and oil. And I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten of captivity, the cankerworm of captivity, the caterpillar and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. And ye shall eat plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Most High Yahweh, power that dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am your power and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed. Right? So what? That is our redemption, man. That's heaven. That's our salvation. When the Lord redeems us out of the hands of all these different nations, right? That literally put us into captivity, man. Right? Without going to the same, old precepts that we pull in camp, or that we pull all the time, just trying to nail it home with other precepts, right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 11 and verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, Yahweh, which shall stand for an ensign for the people. And to it shall the Gentiles seek, and rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass that in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people that shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and Cush, and Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the 4 corners of the earth. Right? So the Lord, that's our salvation. When he gathers us from the 4 corners of the earth, right, and brings us where? Ultimately unto a chariot to beam us back down into the wilderness to go into the New Jerusalem, which the heathens are going to build up, man. Right? That's literally our salvation. That's what salvation is, man. Right? Let's get another precept. Let's go to Jeremiah. It's the book of Jeremiah, that second Exodus, man. The second Exodus is literally, our salvation. Right? It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Because that's what they say, right? Everybody remembers, everybody knows when the Most High brought us out of the land of Egypt, right? Moses part of the Red Sea, the plague of the darkness, the plague of the frogs, the plague of the locusts, the plague of the firstborn being put to death, right? But Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of the north. And we've already discussed and shown through the precepts the land of the north is the daughter of Babylon, which we know is America, right? And from all the lands whither he had driven them. And we just read in Isaiah chapter 11 that he's going to recover us from all those lands, right? This is what it's talking about in Jeremiah, that second Exodus, right? And I will bring them again into their land, and I gave them again to their land that I gave unto their fathers, right? That's literally what's going to happen. That's our salvation, man, right? Let's go to the book Revelation. Try to go something that's straightforward. Brothers ain't got to, where it's kind of just plain. Right, it's the book of Revelation. Chapter 19 and verse 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife shall be made herself ready. And we know that wife is who? Israel, right? The day of the marriage, hey, that's our salvation. That's when we completely saved. We completely been brought out the hand of the enemy. Now we being married unto Yahweh Shah. Now we in these glorified bodies, right? And to her, and to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. Right now we in that righteousness. Why? Right? Because we done purged out all the sin, and the Lord then gave us what? The laws in our inward parts. And he said unto me, right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, these are the true sayings of Yahweh. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am a fellow servant and of thy brethren, that the testimony of Yahweh shall worship Yahweh. For the testimony of Yahweh shall is the spirit of prophecy. And I saw heaven open up, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon it was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doeth judge and make war, right? So Yahweh shall, he's going to come and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. Why? Because he conquered many nations. And he had a name written on it that no man knew but he himself. And he was dipped with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of Yahweh, right? So Yahweh Shai, his vesture was dipped in blood. Why is that, man? Why is that? Right? Because he slaughtered all the nations, redeeming Israel. Right? Let's get one more precept. We got to close out. Got to get out of here. It's the book. Man, I'm probably going to have to do a part 2 because I didn't even cover everything I wanted to cover, man. Lord willing. The book of Isaiah, chapter 63, right? Right? In verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom, so-called white man, with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in greatness of his strength. I speak in righteousness, right? Because he said he's going to judge in righteousness. Mighty to save, salvation to save, right? Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like they treaded in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger and trample them in my fury, and in their blood shall I be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain on my raiment. For the day of vengeance is mine, is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. So what's the year of the Lord's redeemed? Literally, man. That's the year of the Lord's redeemed, when he redeems Israel from captivity. Right? So let's get the classic, close out. Right? The year of the Lord's redeemed. This is salvation. It's the book of Luke, chapter 1. Right? In verse 69 or 68. Blessed be the Lord power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and hath raised up a horn of salvation for us of his servant David, as he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, right? So that's salvation right there, man. Being saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. And we just went through a myriad of precepts of that happening and how it's going to happen, right? That's my time. Lord willing, somebody was edified or will be edified in the days to come. Shalom.